How have you tried to act cool only to have it backfire on you? My physics teacher told the guys of the class that one of the best ways to look cool in front of a girl is to do the 1,000-yard gaze or looking into the distance. He continued to tell us that girls would think that guy is so deep, so cool. What is he thinking? Well, I tried that in front of a girl I had a crush on and all she said to me was, "Why are you squinting so hard?" Physics teachers are known for their skill with the ladies. On my 13th birthday, I got a pair of Oakleys. I bugged my mom about them for months and she finally relented and bought me a pair. Ugly suckers. But back then, I thought the more extreme something was, the cooler it was. The first day I took them to school, I tried to walk past this girl I had a crush on and put them on at the exact moment I passed her. I don't know, I thought it would make me look cool. I wasn't a bright kid. As I'm about to initiate the transfer of glasses to face, I drop them and immediately step on them. A kid sitting beside her goes, "Way to go, frag. Hey, everyone, check out this loser." Breaking my glasses was bad enough, but that kid delivered the coup de grace with that comment. That crap destroyed me. I collected all 3 pieces of my glasses and scuttled away as fast as my porky little legs could take me. In a room of about 10 people, everyone was prank calling friends from other people's phones and putting it on speakerphone, just doing one call at a time. Some girl called one of her friends that I didn't know, and I guess everyone else did, to prank call her and handed the phone to me. I said some stupid crap, nothing mean really, but then I said something about her dad. I don't remember what I said, but it wasn't anything too terrible. However, everyone in the room just went absolutely silent and stared at me with mouths open. Well, apparently, her dad had died earlier that year, and she completely broke down sobbing and yelling and screaming. On speakerphone, "Why would you call me and talk about my daddy?" Her friend got on the phone, began trying to console her. Everyone looked at me like I was freaking evil. I just told everyone I was so sorry, told the girl on the phone I was really sorry, sat there for about 15 minutes in complete awkwardness, and then left. I never hung out with 3/4 of the people there again. I was at a bar in college with some friends and made eyes with a girl from one of my classes. She was sitting with 3 other girls. I was pretty drunk and decided it was a good idea to go show off my swagger to my friends and see if I could get one of their numbers. I walk over there and about 10 feet from the table, I trip but I recover. I'm off to a good start. I sit down, introduce myself, shake one of their hands, and then go to shake another girl's hand. I accidentally knock over someone's drink while extending my arm, and then in a reflex of trying to catch the falling drink, I spill my own drink that I'm holding. It doesn't really get any of them wet, but there's liquid everywhere including all over my shirt and lap. They had a ton of napkins, though. I just kind of sat there like UHH. Frick, got up and walked away and went to a different bar. My friends were laughing pretty hysterically. It doesn't really get any of them wet. Big surprise there. This is also one of my top embarrassing moments. When I was 11 or 12, I'm 24 now, I went to summer camp and after meeting the other girls in my cabin, we joined up with the corresponding boys' cabin to play some icebreaker games or whatever. We started playing categories and people were generally starting with things like brands of cars or shoes. When it came to be my turn, I thought it would be super cool to stump everyone with a challenging category. Characters from Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. Everyone just stared at me in silence. A couple counselors tried to say Spock and Kirk, but I shut them down and explained those were not characters from DS9, but just Star Trek. I proceeded to list off all the characters, in a very pompous little crap kind of way, still thinking I was cool. Backfired. A couple counselors tried to say Spock and Kirk, but I shut them down and explained those were not characters from DS9, but just Star Trek. Season 5, Episode 6, Trials and Tribulations. DS9 crew traveled back in time to the old Enterprise. Kirk is there. This one time in 6th grade we were playing kickball in gym class. I went to a private school, so I was wearing a white polo and grey slacks. Well, I had just started playing football, so I was bragging that I could kick the ball really far. Mind you, I was the short little pudgy kid everyone picked on. Well, I was up to kick. I pointed way into the outfield, ran at the ball and tried to kick it really hard. Well, Not only did I completely miss the ball, I farted really loud as my leg fully extended and ripped my pants and underwear down my butt. Then I fell right back into a puddle of mud. Everyone started falling over laughing, even the gym teacher who pitched the ball to me. You win. Just dang. 6th grade gym class. We ran one lap around the gym backwards. As I got to the finish line, people were waving at me, telling me to stop. I kept going cause I thought I was Mr. Invincible. They shouted louder, waving, trying to get my attention to stop running, until I slipped on a pile of puke and landed all over it. People who have never walked into puke have no idea how slippery it is. It happened occasionally in middle school to me. Happily walking, hug the wall to squeeze past slow people, nearly slip on some person's puke and break my coccyx. I am a pizza delivery driver and I get bored a lot. Sometimes when I'm doing deliveries I like to play this game with myself where I talk in a British accent. So I go up to this house and this super hot girl answers the door. I start talking in my best British accent and she freaks out and talks. Turns out she's British too, and she asks me whereabouts in England am I from. The only place I knew in England was London, but I got caught off guard by her question and panicked, so I said Camelot. She looked at me very weird and told me I wasn't British. When I told her about my game she looked disgusted. The entire time, she had my tip in her hand, but when she gave it to me, she pulled out a couple bucks. Turns out she's British too. I applaud the depth of your fantasy. Playing kickball. Was pretty drunk and a little boisterous that day. I was up to kick and one of the people on the sidelines was jokingly talking trash. I started backing up slowly to pull my pants down and moon him. Apparently he saw it coming and as soon as I pulled my pants down he spit right on my butt crack. One of the grossest feelings ever. Actually that wasn't his spit. I was tree planting, and we had a contract that required being transported on a helicopter. I had never been on a helicopter before. Helicopters are ridiculously expensive. Ours was $1,600 hour, so it is all about efficiency. You want to get on and off as fast as possible. For my first ride, I got assigned to shotgun. Riding in this seat, you have the responsibility to coordinate the loading unloading of the helicopter. So the helicopter pulls up, and I run to it squatted as low as I can possibly get, and I'm throwing all the military hand signals around to get us loaded up. It goes well. We take our ride, land, I get out, and start throwing all of the military hand signals around to get our crew out as fast as possible. Then I start running away from the helicopter squatted as low as I can possibly get. In reality, I didn't need to use the hand signals, but it looked cool. And in reality, I only had to duck my head, but squatting real low is what they did in all the cool movies. So I'm running real low, using my left hand to throw signals telling my crew to hurry up. I look real cool. In my right hand is a gallon jug of water. The handle on the water jug breaks off, and the bottle falls out of my hand. Largely because I am squatted low and waving my left hand madly. This sudden change in weight I am carrying causes me to lose my balance and face plant. Unfortunately, we were going down a hill. I rolled about 50 feet and landed in a thorn bush. When I was in high school, there was this guy who I thought was ridiculously cool and I therefore tried to catch his attention. I am not now, nor have I ever been the type of chick to wear a skirt, but I thought I would give it a whirl so this guy could see me a little more of my skin. One morning I set my trap with this totally badass skirt, and I was feeling all awesome and sexy. When I walked by him, though, I heard him and his friends burst out into hysterical laughter. I kept walking until I rounded the corner, whereupon I discovered the reason for their laughs. Not being a skirt wearer, I did not understand the physics of butt and backpack interactions, so my loose, short skirt shimmied up along my butt with each fricky bouncy step I took. My dorky freshman butt and granny panties were hanging out for all to see. Freaking skirts. Oh my god, this happened to me at Walmart. This big fat sassy black woman came up to me and was like, "Girl, your butt is showing." Frick. 4th grade. Been reading some pretty advanced 6th grade books. Thought I was the crap. In front of many people had a debate with my teacher where I was teaching a classmate about something. She commented at the end of the conversation about how so you're pretty good at this, huh? Out of all the new words I learned, I chose the one that I understood the least but thought the pronunciation was the coolest. I said no, I'm naive. Classmate that I was lecturing on, of all people, knew that word of all words and immediately said I don't think you know what that means. The teacher started laughing. Learned about all sorts of humility that day. To take your attitude further, you should have said that he must not know about sarcasm after the classmate's comment. I had been trying to break up with a psychotic girlfriend for weeks. She was a truly terrible person, but that's a different story. She talked me into staying with her a few times, but I agreed mostly because I felt guilty dropping her right before her finals of her senior year of college. After she graduated, I finally was ready to put my foot down. We had neighboring apartments in a complex. The only thing left of mine in her apartment was a booklet of DVDs. I went over to get it, and she, predictably, tried to talk me into getting back with her. We ended up talking for a while, and she was crying about how she wouldn't want anybody ever again and how now she would never get married. I knew that all of this was coming and was completely prepared. I gave her this glorious, elegant speech about why it just wouldn't work if we kept it going, about how we needed to move on, and told her that she would find somebody to love again someday. All of this was done without a twinge of regret or doubt. My thoughts and words flowed without a pause or stutter in a way that I couldn't recreate if I tried. I ended with "send me an invite to your wedding," as this was the classiest way to say I will never be walking down the aisle with you, then turned around and strutted out like a boss. It was a perfect, movie-style closing. Then I froze in the hallway as the smile crashed off of my face. In my efforts towards a glorious exit, I had forgotten why I went over in the first place. I turned around and knocked on her door. "I forgot my DVDs," I said, somewhat sheepishly. She handed my DVD booklet to me and said, "So much for your dramatic exit," then slammed the door in my face. Boom. Roasted. Great storytelling. As I was reading and nearing the end, I was thinking, wait, no, you're forgetting your CDs. I was a young lad, about 8-9 I think, and I was at the local park riding my bike around. There was a big hill next to the basketball court that you could catch some pretty sweet speed going down. This girl I knew came to the park with her mom to play around, and after a while they sat down at the bench to relax. I was the focal point of their field of view, so I decided what better time to show off my sweet biking skills. I pedaled to the top of the hill and start to ride down. Thinking I'd ramp up the difficulty level, I start to pedal pretty quickly down the hill. There was a little lip at the bottom of the hill just before the basketball court, so with enough speed I figured I could show this little lady what sweet air really looks like in person. I hit the dirt lip and went over the handlebars with what must have looked like a paraplegic trying to do the high jump. I face planted on the concrete basketball court and had some nice gashes on my face. Her and her mom gasp and proceed to walk over to check on me. I got onto my bike as fast as I could and choked out an "I'm okay, no big deal," while trying to swallow back the tears of pain shame. I rode off until I was out of earshot and let the crying commence in earnest. It's always served as a life lesson in how not to act cool in front of the ladies. I took a date to a very nice restaurant for dinner to impress her. I noticed the monitor the waitress was using to keep track of our bill behind my date, and just before the check came, I told my date how much the bill would be, thinking she would be impressed by my math skills. After a few more dates I explained what I had done that night. She laughed and told me she had thought I was a tightwad because I was watching my money so closely. Out at the bar on my 21st birthday, about 8-10 drinks in. Fairly intoxicated. 5 hot butt college girls walk in and approach the bar right by where I'm sitting. I'm drunk enough to hit on them. I'm normally shy, and I pick up my drink as I say, "Hey ladies, what's up?" Spill the drink on my crotch. All of them just look away. I quietly get up and leave, covered in Captain and Coke and shame. I told kids I had stopped wetting the bed at 8 years old because I thought it was an accomplishment. Turns out I had psychological problems and sleep disorders working together to make me pee myself at night, and that bedwetting after early childhood is not, as I thought it to be, normal. This isn't as funny as it should be. I was walking out of the portable classroom our choir class was in and decided to be cool and jump over the handrail and onto the ground about 5 feet below. He broke my arm, took a bow pretending nothing happened, and immediately beeline to the nurse. Hit that like a boss. So here it goes. I was 14 at the time. I got involved in a school play because of this girl I really liked. So about a week or so before the play a whole bunch of us got together at a friend's house for a quick rehearsal. And of course, she was there too. We got organized and stuff, however a car was parked in the garage where we wanted to rehearse. So the owner of the house asked if someone could back it up. I wanted to impress the girl so I said I would do it. My friend tossed me the car keys. I catch them without even looking at them. I had my eyes fixed on the girl. From there it all went downhill. I had never ever even started a car before in my life. As soon as I closed the door I panicked, but still thought to myself, frick it, I'ma go through with this. So I grabbed the headrest of the passenger side, turned my head toward the back of the car, start the car, hit the clutch and floor it. I didn't even check to see the gear. It was a stick. When all of a sudden jerked forward. About 3 seconds into it, I hit a tree, panicked even more and pressed the accelerator even harder and hit the tree again, and again, until it finally stopped. I got out of the car still trying to look like I had it all under control. That was, until I threw up. The BMW dented and in the same freaking place it was parked to begin with. Oh god, I started to sweat with every word I typed. Needless to say I never got the girl. Please tell what happened after. Yeah, one balmy summer evening I was talking to the steaming hot girl from down the street while we stood in my driveway. I was nonchalantly pulling back the radio aerial on my rusty old 77 Firebird and letting it spring back. Each time I pulled it back a little further and it would whip into place with that characteristic waka 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 sound. I pulled it back really far and let it go. On its return journey it lodged in my freaking eye socket. It was stuck up in there. I was stunned for a second and slowly tried to pull it out gingerly and painfully. I finally got it to slide out. My eye was throbbing and all blurry and I crap you not. I looked right at her and said in my best radio voice, "Kids, don't try this at home." Never did hit that. She probably figured someone who could shrug off a metal pole in the eye with a wisecrack cliche already had a supermodel girlfriend. I actually had somewhat the opposite happen. Back in elementary school I was on my bike riding home. I was practicing how to do wheelies on my own. I was getting able to do it for like 2 whole feet. I rode around the corner and there were a group of girls. I thought to myself, MMH, I better stop. They'll think I'm just trying to be cool, so I rode by them in the most normal, casual way I could. As soon as I was out of sight I continued my practicing. The next day one of the girls asked me, "Were you trying to look cool yesterday? WTF frick you be?" When I was younger, my cousins and I had just got home from dinner, and my parents told me to put my bike away since I had left it in the yard. Well, as my dad was closing the garage door, I decided to attempt to ride it in under the door. I didn't make it. The door clotheslined me off my bike in the most humorous way imaginable. What made it worse is that I was humming the tune to Indiana Jones during my failed attempt. Till this day, my cousins bring it up and rip me over it. This one still hurts to this day. Got my first job pushing carts at a grocery store when I was 16. On my second day I noticed that a guy in the deli section went to elementary school with me. So, on break, I went and ordered some potato wedges. The guy put a couple of chicken wings in there as well but only charged me for the wedges. I go up to the break room and while I'm enjoying my snack another guy walks in. He asks me about my purchase and I sat back and said, "Yeah, I've got connections in the deli section." He asked me what I meant and I said my friend just threw in a couple of wings with my wedges. The guy just nods, walks towards a door, knocks on it and another man emerges. He tells this man about what I just said and then it starts to sink in. I had just tried to act cool to the undercover loss prevention officer. I was fired, along with my friend, over 2 chicken wings. They said they wanted to make an example of us and I was banned from entering the store forever. The time I wanted to slide to a screeching halt using my e-brake, there was gravel in the road and I ended up rear-ending my friend's new Buick Regal. My friend's new Buick Regal. Yay grandpa, that would be awkward. Last night I left a bouquet of flowers and a really deep note at this girl's house. She read it to all of her friends and they all laughed at me. AWW man. That was messed up of her. Tried to fix the jukebox. Ended up with 6 stitches in my hand. I was also kicked out of the bar and arrested for destruction of property. Happy Days is not the best reference for jukebox repair. Back in the Jurassic period, late 60s, when smoking was universally considered to be cool, on one of my first dates with a new crush, was driving my 64 Impala, pushed in the cigarette lighter, then when it popped out tried to light up, while not looking, of course, using one of the knobs from the radio. Classic, literally. Pokemon. I was about 10 years old. I lied and told everyone I had this stellar team, when in reality I had a pretty weak and lousy lineup. This boy I liked seemed interested in trading, and I didn't have the Pokemon I said I did. I panicked, caught a whole slew of Magikarp, and gave them names like Charizard and MEWTWO, convinced that somehow they'd turn into their namesakes via trade. He wasn't too impressed with how cool I was when he received a Magikarp. I was at a job interview earlier this year and got to the building a bit early. The receptionist was a cute girl and I needed to check in with her in order to go to the company's floor. I signed my name on the clipboard and placed my forearms on it while chatting with her about the job search and such. When I went to leave, apparently my shirt sleeve had gotten caught on a piece of metal at the top of the clipboard. By standing up I pulled the clipboard off the counter, still hanging from my shirt, knocked a couple pens onto the ground, hit a business card holder, and made a lot of noise. She started scrambling to pick things up while laughing at me and I did the embarrassed I am a klutz laugh. Even with the clipboard attached to my sleeve I decided to pick up the pens first. Thing is, when I came up from bending to the ground, the clipboard got snagged on the bottom of the counter and tore my shirt sleeve from wrist to elbow. Needless to say I left red-faced and had to pretend like I didn't get mauled by a rabid dog before the interview. I got a job elsewhere. I remember telling a friend off and giving him some advice to consider. I turned around and started walking away. I felt like a badass until I fell in a hole in his yard. Falling in holes is funny. A friend of mine was being a total bridezilla and ordering everyone around in the garden the day before her wedding. She was distracted and fell into a hole that was meant for a tree to be planted. Ended up breaking her legs and needing to be carried down the aisle the next day. It's usually a lot of little retarded stuff, but it adds up to a fairly significant level of daily backfire. Example, walking through Lowe's yesterday, had a bag of screws in hand, tossed them a few inches up in the air just for fun. Of course I planned on catching them. Also, since everyone else seems to go to Costco for years now, I finally decided it was time that I got in the action, and I tried to buy a giant jar of snack mix. Cashier asks for my Costco card. I tell him I don't have one. Then I finally remember, Costco is the one store where you have to have a card and be a member. So in one instant I went from finally being one of the cool people who shop at Costco to being the only retard who isn't a member yet and forgot you needed to be one. The other shoppers were amazed at my stupidity. One does not simply walk into Costco. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.